International Media TV. Television that listens to you.
Hi, I'm Johnnie Burrell. Welcome to the program.
Rachel's weeping for her children. Rachel's weeping. Somehow someone's got to save them. Save the children. And if you say that love the answer, why don't we begin? Or will we just end?
Stay tuned as I interview Miss Iyanla Vanzant. I had the awesome opportunity of attending her Awakenings Conference held at the Grand Lucaya Resort in the Bahamas. Some of you may know her as an author, a motivational speaker, and a TV host. Miss Iyanla Vanzant was a child who herself was separated from her biological parents and passed around amongst family members. She will share with us some of the challenges she faced as a child. And now, as a grandparent, parenting her own grandchildren, she will share some of the challenges faced as an adult, being the village that raises a child. Enjoy. Hi, this is Miss Evelyn, and welcome to another segment of Visions for a Child's Heart. So excited. I'm here in the Grand Bahamas at our Lucaya Resort, and I'm with none other than the beautiful Ms. Iyanla Vanzant. And talk about God manifesting himself. When you have a vision and you purpose it and you just show up, he makes it possible. So after a long weekend and very giving of herself, she's agreed to do this brief interview. And so for those of you who don't know, welcome, Ms. Iyanla Vanzant.
Thank you.
I'm so glad and
nice
just appreciate your just taking the time. And Visions for a Child's Heart is a program that I do to encourage young people who either have been separated from their biological parents, have gone through the foster care system, as well as the adults and grandparents who are caregiving for young people who have had some issues and they're not sure. And I just finished writing my first book called It's Hard Work, Being the Village That Raises a Child. And I know that from your life, there have been two aspects of it. I remember reading in your biography that there was some time in your life when you were separated from your biological parents. And I also know that you've done some parenting of your own grandson. So I'm wondering, what would you say to the young people who feel like their lives have no purpose? And what would you say to the adults who are feeling like this is not even worth the time and effort?
Well, I think those are two separate things. Well, let me speak to it this way. I lost my biological mother when I was 2, and my father wasn't emotionally or I guess physically available to raise us. So his mother raised us for my brother and I, for a certain amount of time, and then we went back to my father. And then we left him and we went back to my aunt. So I've been raised in the village. The village really did raise me. And what I would say to young people who find themselves in that experience, that your biological parents are meant to bring you onto the planet. They may not be the ones who take you through life. And it's really okay. You know, parents are not just the people that purposed our birth. Parents are the people that love us, that support us, that guide us. You know, my father was my parent, but he really was never a father to me. My uncle was a father. My mother was really my mother, but she didn't live long enough to really mother me. She passed when I was 2. And so my cousin and my aunt and my sister all mothered me. And now in my elder years, I recognize the purpose of that. So I would say that to the young people, if there's somebody loving you, supporting you, encouraging you for this time, Everything is for a season. Everything is for a season. And we need to just be present in this season.
And that has nothing to do with their purpose and their value here on earth.
Absolutely not. I think being raised for me in the village, by by multiple members of the village, is exactly what gave me my purpose.
Exactly.
I don't know, had my mother lived, had my father stayed in my life, would I have had some of the experiences that have made me who I am today? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, perhaps, could be. Who knows?
Exactly.
But I do know that there are no mistakes.
Exactly.
That we always end up exactly where we need to end up. And I found my purpose through the adversity of my family.
And it allowed you to have even a greater impact on those who are seeking themselves, because you have a deeper understanding than many do. And I love the comment that you made during your message this morning about our biological parents
lend God their bodies to get us here. Then their purpose is really done. They get to choose whether they carry us through. You know, once we get here, because after we get here, we're really in God's care.
That's right.
Not the people's care. And that's why parents who give their children up for adoption, or who leave their children, or parents who give to the grandparents, they recognize that their purpose is complete. I was to get you here, I got you here. Now you hit your ride. And so, it's really okay.
Right. And what would you say to those of us, the villagers, who didn't biologically bring the children here, but we still have a charge, we still have a responsibility? And a lot of times people say, you know, well, that's not my kid, or that's their child. But in my statement is, they're all our children.
Well, you know, Jesus said that what you do to the least of them, you do unto me. And I think in many cases our children are the least among us, because they are, you know, helpless in many ways, they are dependent in many ways, and particularly the little ones. I'm talking about from birth to 9, 10, 11. This is the least of us. So if we can't provide for the least of us, among us, not only are we not following the instructions that Christ has given us, but we're also really not honoring who we are. That's number one. Number two, looking at the same, looking at Scripture in the same way, it says, blessed are the children, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So if you have to take in a child that's not yours, or provide care for a child that you didn't birth necessarily, and that child is blessed, because blessed are the children, for they shall inherit the kingdom. Don't you think that you're going to get some of the blessing?
Hello.
Well, I would hope so. You know?
Definitely, definitely. And it's not always in the way that we expect it.
Right.
Yes.
But I also say everybody has choice. Everybody has a choice. I am raising 2 of my grandchildren because I choose to. I don't feel obligated. I don't feel it's my responsibility. I feel that it is a choice that I make from a place of love and compassion. I'm not obligated in any way, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Because as a grandmother and as the matriarch of my lineage, I want to make sure that my grandchildren are provided for and safe and protected, and I can do that.
And how when that child seems to reject that loving, because a lot of times some of us say, I don't have to do this, and you know that you don't have to do it, but when that child rejects or seems to take your loving for granted, and you go
all children take your loving for granted. That's what they're supposed to do. Children are supposed to take your loving for granted. Break your heart, waste your money, break your TV, ruin the china, tear up the sofa. You know, they're supposed to. I thought that's what they were supposed to do.
And what should we do?
What should we do? We love them. We love them through it. That's what you did. That's what I did.
Yes.
I took my caregivers' loving for granted. You know, I didn't see the sacrifices that they were making. I didn't understand why they did the things they did the way they did, and I didn't like it. And you know, I wasn't with my natural parents. And I think that what I've learned about raising my grandchildren that I didn't know when I was raising my children is, as long as a child feels safe and valued and accepted and stable.
Yes, yes.
they're just going to be children. Children do what children do. You know, humans do what humans do. I don't treat my grandchildren any differently than I did my children. I'm a little older, a little wiser, so I do have different ideas about child rearing. And mistakes that I made with my children, I do not make with my grandchildren. One thing you would never hear me say out of my mouth, and if I should say it, I would want my tongue to freeze in midair and stay that way for 27 days. That would be, I don't have to do this.
There's so many.
Or remind the children that somehow their parents didn't do it, or that I'm somehow doing them a favor. Oh, would my tongue stay frozen for 27 days, unable to move or eat or speak, that I would belittle and demean a child in such an unloving way?
And it happens so much, and I'm so glad that you said that.
Well,
and I hope for those
I'll just put a curse on them people.
Wait, I'm curious to know, why 27 days?
Well, I don't know. I just made that up. I mean, it was shorter than 45, and it wasn't, you know, it was longer than 14. 27. You should get it by then. That's not how you speak to children.
That's right.
What does it matter?
That's
Freeze
right.
your tongue.
And that's something that I want our villagers to realize, that the words that we speak to our children can be either saving and loving, or they can be killing. We can kill their little spirits. And I'm talking about, you mentioned the 9 to 11-year-olds. I'm thinking about our teenagers, the 17, 18-year-olds who are still children on the inside. And they need as much loving, but because we see them in this physical body, and they think they're grown, they're acting like we're grown, they're still our babies.
Well, you know, here's a good thing. The thing is, again, what you do to the least of them. And when I look at my granddaughter, my grandson, the ones who are with me and the ones who are not, I just say to myself, my, I look good on other people. And I treat them as though they are a part of me. And I treat them the way I would want that part of me to be treated. Because there's only one relationship that I'm having, and that's the relationship I'm having with myself. So whether it's a grandchild or a foster child or an adopted child or the next door neighbor, whoever it is, it's a part of me. And so I want to treat everybody like that.
Okay. Well, before we close, and I just appreciate your taking this time again, what was one of the most empowering things an adult said to you or did to you as a child that gave you that sense of, I have a purpose here, or I've got power?
I don't think that as a child I recognized any experience as purposeful.
Wow.
But as an adult, I would say there were two. Number one was being raped by my uncle by the age of when I was 9. That was very empowering for me, because living through that, I learned that I am so much more than a body. And what he did, his behavior towards me and that experience doesn't have anything to do with who I am. I may have never learned that had I not been violated in that way. So that was a very empowering experience for me. Of course, at 9, 10, 11, 12, I didn't understand that. But once I really understood the power that I was giving to that experience, that really didn't change me in any way. It really didn't. It was my thinking about it that changed me. And because it was a thought, I can change a thought. So when I changed my thinking about the experience, my entire life changed to be more empowered. I think the other thing that was most empowering to me was my stepmother, who raised us because my father wasn't around. Always said to me, she would say to me, don't do that because you're going to be somebody one day. Don't speak like that. You're going to be somebody one day. Don't talk like that. Do what you have to do. Behave yourself. Don't disgrace yourself. Don't put yourself in jeopardy because you are going to be somebody one day. Not that I wasn't always somebody.
Yeah, because they're already somebody.
But her speaking took me to a higher place. Really, it took me to a higher place. And I remember that. I will remember that for the rest of my life, that I'm going to be somebody one day. Even now today, as Iyanla Vanzant, best-selling author. I'm going to be somebody one day, because that keeps pulling me forward into a higher expression. And I think that that's what our children need to hear.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much.
Well, you could have, but you didn't.
I didn't have to. I didn't have to. So there you have it, just a divine appointment that God orchestrated himself, Ms. Iyanla Vanzant, sharing with you from the experience of both a child who had the journey of growing up apart from her biological parents and all the trauma that she went through, but she was living her testimony. This is a true testimony of God's divine purpose in life. And also to our caregivers, I want you just really to take note of what she said about not putting that sense of burden on a child that we are obligated.
No, they need to take note that tongue gonna get frozen for 27 days. That's what they really need to take note of.
She said it.
Get the burden and the obligation.
She said it.
Well, best wishes to all of them. It's not an easy journey, and it's not an easy task. And if God chose you to do it, then understand that you are fully equipped and you have everything that's required.
Yes, indeed. And I'm hoping that one day you'll be able to come to California and work with our foster youth and our caregivers to do some of the things that you've done here in this workshop about in your latest book, Tapping the Power Within. So I just want to thank you for all of the inspiration you've given me through the years, and just reading your books, my soul just opened up. Yesterday I cried. In the meantime, it's just been a blessing, and I'm truly honored to be sitting here in your presence today. So
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Heavenly mothers crying, sees her children are dying at the hands of the other child. I know her heart is breaking, I feel the earth is shaking, but rivers flow from the tears she cries, she cries, she